I am, but okay, so I'll just share my screen now so we can get started. Hope my voice is clear enough. I'm not too strong though. I'm just going to try to be audible enough. Okay. Um, so let's do this. So if you can see my screen, you can probably just indicate via the chat box or raising your hands. I'm just sure that we're on the same path. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so today we'll be talking about usability testing. I hope my voice is clear enough. Okay, today we'll be talking about usability testing. So we have all done um, lots of designs on Figma, and we've started prototyping. So like our hands are already getting, familiar with the tool and the design interface. But usability testing is one part of the whole process, designing a product that cannot be ignored. Okay, so firstly, I'll just say that people ignore design that ignores people. So this is a great quote by Frank Chimero. Um, just as the word says, if your design is ignoring the needs of your users, your design is not communicating, definitely people would ignore that design. So this cuts across both normal visual design and also like UI UX as well. Okay, another one is design. Your design is not finished until somebody is using it. So it's not just enough to just open Figma and start doing something really awesome, and then your design is not out there. Like people are not using the product already, and it's not creating solution or giving back to individuals out there. So this is a great quote by Brenda Laurel. Another quote is, "You are not your user." Like this should just sink into you. You are not your user. So no matter how you feel like this design is awesome, and I feel like this is the best thing that I have ever done on Figma, you're not your user. So users have a great role to play, as well as like um the business owners or like the product owners as well. So I have another quote that says that a user interface is like a joke. If you have to explain it, then it is not that good. So imagine if Leo cracked a joke in his community. I don't know, but that was just one name that came into my mind. And then he has to explain the joke. Okay, just imagine comedians. They crack a joke and nobody's laughing. So you now have to start explaining, okay, this is what I meant by this joke. So if I have to explain my design, like sit down and start explaining everything that's happening, then it may not be that good. Okay, so with these few points of mine, we can actually get started. Just for feedback, you all can hear me, right? You can type, you can raise your hands. So I'm just sure that we are in the same. Okay, awesome. I can see two hands raised. All right. So let's talk about usability first. So usability testing, but let's at least have a conversation about um, usability and what it entails. Okay. So basically, usability is like ease of use, right? So the extent to which your product, your design can be used by a specified set of users to achieve a specific goal with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction in specified context of use. That's what usability is all about. It has to be easy for users to make use of this product without any hitches here and there, even though we know that there could be some percentage of error, but error can still be managed. Okay, so this definition basically can be expanded and we can make it more comprehensive by including the very five basic characteristics that must be met by the users of the product. So for you to know that, okay, this product is actually usable, it has to be effective, it has to be efficient, it has to be engaging, there needs to be a high level of error tolerance, and then it should be easy to learn. So just talk about these five things before we go into usability testing. Okay, so the first one is your effectiveness, right? So I have it here that effectiveness is basically the completeness and accuracy with which your users are able to achieve a specified goal. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so it's you can determine it by looking at whether the user goals were met successfully or whether the work was correct, right? So effectiveness is basically looking at how well was this design done, how well is this product being done. So it has to do with, okay, we know that the design part, but development is also inclusive. Like you said, we are designing product that people would use. It won't just be on your Figma board, right? So the quality of your user assistance that is being built into the interface, if you're visual cues, it basically has a strong impact on effectiveness. So all the feedback we've been giving all of us for the past few weeks, we're asking questions like maybe this CTA button, why is it here? What kind of copy are you using on this CTA button? All the questions, all the feedback, they are all centered around usability as well. So the more informative your interface can be, like I should not be thinking of what am I supposed to do on this platform if I just come on the platform for the first time. So it has to be as informative as possible. This is what makes me know that okay, this product or this interface is very effective. Okay, so the next one is efficiency. So basically, I can define efficiency as the speed with accuracy. So you can just be very fast in doing something and then there's still error here and there, right? But the speed with accuracy in which your users are able to complete the task for a particular product, right? So it basically includes the number of clicks or the keystrokes required on the total time of task. So let's say I'm doing a usability test and then I want to check out for level of efficiency. Let me just look, okay, how fast was it? How quick was it for my users to, maybe create an account? Did it take them 5 milliseconds? Did it take them 3 minutes? Did they have to rigmarole around the page before they even see, okay, create an account or subscribe to a newsletter? Depending on what part of this product I want to get feedback on. All right, so that's about efficiency. Hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so then we now have engaging. Your product needs to be as engaging, as pleasant, as satisfying, as conversational as possible. I think we said something one time about when you have a product that it's just like a robot. So your interface is not like a sweet young girl that is acting sweet, and their products are when you come on the platform for the first time, it's really engaging. The interactions, the micro interactions, the colors, everything just looks pleasant and satisfying to use. So one of the very basic obvious elements is visual design based on like engaging to know how usable your product is. So the style of your visual representation, so this is where we now go back to the UI design we've been talking about, right? The style of the visual representation, the types of graphic images, the colors, and all the multimedia elements, interactions, it's all what makes up for a product that is engaging, that makes it more usable. So that's for engaging. And then we have error tolerance. Your product has to be as forgiving as possible. Like, when we have some applications that there is no return arrow, like, when maybe you're on a particular screen and maybe you want to return to the previous screen and there's no button for you to do that. That means that product does not forgive. So we know where we have the forgot password. That forgot password is to help users that could probably forget maybe their password, for example. So you can see that such a product is forgiving. So we know that the ultimate goal is for a system that has no errors. Like, want to have applications and product that there is no mistake, everything is just perfect. But as human beings, definitely errors would occur, right? So an error-tolerant product is designed to prevent errors caused by the user's interaction and to help these users recover from any error. So we all know, I think I said something about designing for different user states. So error state is one of the user states. So I know definitely that being in Nigeria, there could be network issues at some point. So when there is a network issue and I am on an application, what is the screen I'm supposed to see there? Is it supposed to just be blank, or everybody's just staring at this laptop or this screen? But you know that there are some products that they have already designed that, okay, when there is no network or probably there is a network glitch or a hitch or a challenge whatsoever, you will just see the error page. Oops, okay, just like Slack, we all use Slack. We've seen Slack has one of the very most amazing error designs, right? So like Slack, you would see something like, sorry, we think the error is from our end. Maybe you can check your network, you can reload Slack, you can troubleshoot Slack. We've seen all of those stuff. So for your product to be usable, there needs to be a very high level of error tolerance. Okay, so a highly usable interface has to treat error messages as part of the interface, which is what I've said already. So there shouldn't just be only a clear description of the problem, but also direct links to choices for a path to correct the problem. So when we have an error design, like an error state design, where we say, okay, your network is bad, or probably this link you're looking for does not exist, or this page you're looking for does not exist, it's advisable that there should be maybe a call to action button. I hope you all are following me on this mental journey. Okay. So there should be like a call to action button that says, okay, go back to previous page or go back to home page or go back to settings. So your product has to be as forgiving as possible. Emphasis on forgiving. That forgiveness, you need to include all of those in your design. Okay. So now the last one is easy to learn. I think I said it one time in this class that products like Facebook and WhatsApp, they didn't necessarily have to send missionaries, for lack of a better word, from um, from from the abroad to Nigeria, for example, or to African nations to teach people how to use this product. So they made the product as intuitive as possible, very easy to learn, such that even a young person can read through, you know, just open a page and know, okay, this is the next thing I have to do. Right. So your interface needs to learn how to allow users to build on their knowledge without deliberate effort. So okay, so let's take for example now, if you want to design the next WhatsApp, okay, let me just say not design the next WhatsApp, but platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, all these social media. If you notice, the interfaces are a little bit similar, not similar like not like copy and paste. But if you want to send a message, the arrow for you to send message is at your right. So you're just tapping your right thumb and then the message is being sent. There is like a nav bar, like a left nav bar or like a right nav bar. So these are like consistency on all these products. Okay, so predictability is complementary to interface consistency. Don't mind all this big grammar. Okay, but I should be able to predict, okay, if I'm coming onto an application, for example, maybe a fintech app or maybe a bank app, right? I just know that, okay, if I want to send money, I'm just assuming that sending money, receiving money, buy airtime, all those things we see on our mobile bank apps, they're just there on the dashboard. So you now coming in as a new designer, you won't say, okay, I want to design my own idea. You make it look totally different. No, the product or the platform has to be easy to learn. So a consistent interface ensures that your terminology does not change. So you're not using words that, you're not bringing up big jargons or, words that don't look familiar to your users. Okay, so the design element information and the controls, they are placed in familiar locations. Just like if you open a website, for example, all know conventionally that the logo is at the top left, right? And then we know that the call to action button or maybe login or sign up is at the top right. And then maybe on the hero page, we could have maybe another CTA just below at the left, right? So when you're coming to do your own product, like you're not going to make everything to just change. Because if I come on a platform for the first time, I'm just expecting that, okay, I have been on so many websites. This is how I expect, this is like my expectation of how this platform is supposed to be. Okay, so similar functions behave similarly. So you should just know that, okay, this is where this is conventionally based on design best practices. We're not saying you're doing like copy and paste, but you're just obeying design best practices because there are some practices that have been in existence for a long time. So you just follow suit. Okay, so I'll just talk about some sample scenarios here for usability goals. Just for feedback. I hope I'm not too fast. Let me calm down for 0 seconds, for 1 second, then we proceed. Okay, so I'll just talk about some sample scenarios here for usability goals. Just for feedback. I hope I'm not too fast. Let me calm down for 0 seconds, for 1 second, then we proceed. Okay, awesome. So I'll just talk about some sample scenarios to usability goals here. So each user needs statement can be turned into usability goal or requirements, right? So for example, we can have requirement that can be specified within a range of acceptable values. So let's take, for example, efficiency. If I want to, let's say I do usability test and I want to know, okay, how efficient is this system? Maybe I could just have a personal metric where I would say that, okay, if users are able to successfully complete this registration within 3 minutes, then this product is as efficient as possible, right? So if it's going to take them like 10 minutes, maybe there is a timer, or maybe, I'm doing a usability test to see how efficient this system is. Another 3 minutes, they are still trying to know what's happening. So I take that as a feedback and go back to the drawing board and say, okay, why? That is where you now think of, okay, so what might we do? What might we do? Okay, that's like a terminology in product design. You can read that, or because you come up with lots of how might we questions. How might we make these products more efficient? Not what might we, how might we? Sorry about that. Okay, so how might we make these products more efficient? How might we make this product more effective? So we're observing that within 10 minutes or within 5 minutes, users are still trying to understand what is happening here. Okay, so you start asking yourself those questions and get the feedback and implement. So we have about effectiveness. I could just say that, okay, if less than 5% of our registrations have, there is a limitation of errors or omissions or inconsistencies. So I can know that, okay, this product is actually very effective, right? Because less of like all the registrations that have come, we've observed that, okay, it's just less than 5% of the registrations that are having errors or maybe omissions, or maybe they do not understand you're supposed to put your password. It should be maybe a mixture of alphanumeric, and then maybe some people are just putting just numbers or maybe just text. So you can know how effective your system is. That, okay, we have less error here, we have less omissions and less inconsistency. Okay, so another sample scenario based on engaging is, okay, let's say, for example, you design a product that helps people to probably contact human resource online rather than going to the HR office. So I could know that, okay, this product is quite engaging because at least 80% of the employees, they express comfort. So I've done usability test. So this is like me having my benchmarks. Okay, I could say that, okay, based on these findings I've done, 80% of the employees, they express comfort doing all of these using the online system rather than going to the HR's office. So let's take, for example, like the HR platform. Then talking about error tolerance, I can just say that, okay, the system was able to validate all the housing, all the choices, and users were allowed to confirm their pricing. So these are just like sample scenarios, right? Before completing the registration. And like I said, error tolerance, the product or this system was as forgiving as possible. So if there was any situation where maybe a user forgot to do XYZ, there was like a return arrow for them to return and do what they want to do, right? Or maybe go back to settings, or as the case may be. Then we have easy to learn. Users were able, or I could just say that my users will be able to successfully complete, let's say the platform. Let's use, for example, a loan calculation platform. I don't know, most of us use CarryWise, right? But there's something like that loan calculator. It's not loan, like you want to save money, and then the product automatically calculates, okay, this is how much you would save in 5 months if you put in 100,000 naira. This is how much you're able to do. So you can see that the product is very easy to learn, and that makes it a very good usability success metric. Okay, so we'll just start now usability testing. Just for feedback, I hope I'm not too fast. I would want to hear from the learners. You can type, so I know that I'm not talking to myself. I hope I'm not too fast though. Okay, I'm not fast. Awesome. So we will just go into usability testing now. Okay. Okay, Adedamola says I'm a little bit fast. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'll just try. Okay, so we're going to usability testing now. So what is usability testing? It's basically a method of evaluating a product or your website user experience. So by testing usability of your product or this website with a representative group of their users or customers. So it's not everybody on the streets. They just speak for usability test. right? So when you do usability tests, you're able to determine if your actual users can easily or intuitively use your product or your website. So it's basically about evaluating a product or a website or maybe an application, the user experience. That's basically what usability testing is all about. So it has to pass through those five metrics which we had talked about, right? How effective is it? How efficient is it? Is it engaging? Is it the error tolerance? Is it high or is it low? Okay, so that's the definition of usability testing. So why are we talking about usability testing? Like, why don't I just launch my products into the market? Some people will be like, there's no need. But remember, I talked about like the very five quotes um I had placed at the beginning of the slide, right? So why are we talking about usability testing? Like, what's the purpose? Okay, so the first one is to uncover problems in the design. So we all know that human beings are actually the one designing the product, even if it's like building the product as well. So we want to know, okay, how can we be able to identify the problems in this design, the design of the product? Okay, so you would want to uncover the problems in the design. Definitely, there could be some things that you may not know. There's something like there was something I learned today. Is it the 4I rule? Like, you give this product to one person, to the second person, and then they give you their feedback. So you're able to identify problems in your design or in the design of a product or a service. Then the second one is you're able to uncover opportunities to improve, like, because you all want your products to or your designs to be acceptable and used by the general public. So how can you discover opportunities that can make it to improve on this design? Is by usability testing, right? Because with your own eye or your own mindset, you could just be like, oh, okay, I feel this is perfect. I could just launch this product in the market. But when you take it out there for usability testing, you now get to say, okay, people will tell you, I feel you can add this, I feel you can remove this feature, I feel you can exclude this feature. And then another one is that you're able to learn about your users, learning about your target users, their behaviors, and their preferences. You're not designing for robots, you're designing for human beings with flesh and blood that have emotions, that have needs, that have expectations. So when you're able to know, okay, these are the set of users I'm designing for, these are their needs, these are their expectations, you're able to know, okay, I can get all this feedback and then take it back to the drawing board. So these are just like three purposes. There are still lots of them like on Google. You can read them up. Okay. So we'll just talk about the phases of usability testing. Okay, so the first one, you need to decide which part of your product or website you want to test. Well, it's very possible you want to test the whole application. Awesome. But you might want to know, okay, what part of this product or website do I want to test? It could be maybe the onboarding flow. It could be maybe the forgot password flow. It could be maybe the dashboard. It could be maybe whatever feature that you want to get feedback from the user. So that's like the very first thing. What part of this feature or what part of this product do you want to test? Then the next thing that you pick your study task. So study starts in the sense that, okay, when users come on this platform, I want them to firstly create an account. I could say, okay, I want them to sign up on the platform. I could say I want them to, what activity do you want them to do? If you say, okay, I want them to probably log in, create an account, or if it's a particular feature, whatever that feature is doing, you're like, okay, you now pick up your study stacks and you write them down, you scribble them down. Or maybe you're using Google Docs, you just, you write it down, you pick out the study task, like what you want your your interviewers to do, or your participants. Yeah, that's the right word, your participants to do when they're on the platform. Okay, so the next one is you need to set a standard for success. So you see what we talked about here by saying that, okay, something like my standard for success would be that if users are able to successfully complete this registration within 3 minutes, okay, that's like a metric for success. That's the standard of success. I'll say, okay, this product is quite usable. Okay, so the next one is you need to write a study plan and script. You need to write a study plan and script. Okay, these are the number of users we are going to have. This is going to be the location. Is it going to be moderated? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be physically? Then you write your script. There is what we call a usability testing script. The kind of questions you want to ask your users. Let's say, for example, like it's over Zoom or over Google Meet, right? You write a script. These are the questions you want to ask your users. These are your expected answers, even though you know you have to have a very broad mind, like because your users could say what you didn't even expect. Okay. So another one is you need to delegate roles. So let's imagine that let's say during your project phase, you need to probably conduct usability tests. So we could say that I'm trying to remember all the names here, but I can't really remember. But Leo just seems to stand out. Okay, so Leo and Kolade and Blessing, we could say that okay, Leo is going to take notes. Kolade is going to ask the users questions. You delegate roles. If you're the only one doing the usability test, you know that you're going to be the one doing everything. Like, but if it's like a group work, you delegate roles. This is what this person is going to do. This is what another person is going to do. Okay. Then you find your participants. Finding your participants. Well, if you're working with a great team, because like I always call you all global designers, right? So if you're working with a great team, definitely they would have definitely they could bring out a pool of participants that could come and give you the feedback. But if like you're just on your own, you may want to check out on Twitter, maybe you release a Google form. Hello everybody, I need your feedback. Do you want to be a participant? Conducting his ability test and I need your feedback. This will help me. I'm just, those kind of questions, right? And then the next one is for you to conduct the study. Conducting the study, this could be, that's what we'll talk about, the moderated, unmoderated, physically remote, or as the case may be. Okay, and then once you're done conducting your study, you need to analyze your data. So when you've gotten all the findings, this analyzing data and reporting findings is a different, I don't want to say it's a different class on its own, but it's like, I feel like their resources, I think I sent, there's some links on this slide concerning analyzing data, because like when you want to synthesize data you've gotten, like you need to know what data am I taking. It's not every feedback you will take. What feedback am I taking? Which one am I trashing? Why should I pick this one? Why should I not pick this one? Right? So if you're working with a team of people, like your other designers or team members, right? You guys will now analyze the data. Okay, we discovered that over 5 people are saying the colors are having issues. Over 10 people are saying maybe they understand what the platform is about. So you analyze your data, synthesize the emphasis. The word I usually use is like you're synthesizing your data, you're filtering what you need. So as a designer, you know that okay, this is what is supposed to be here. This feedback is what I'm going to implement. Because like I said, it's not every feedback you're going to, implement. Okay, and then the last one is like reporting your findings. So if you're working with a great product, and you definitely want to write or document what you've done. Okay, I conducted this usability test, and these are my feedback. I discovered that. Let's go back to this place. I discovered that maybe 80% of our participants were able to do XYZ. I discovered that less than 10%, had difficulties doing XYZ. Okay, so when you're done reporting your findings, yeah, voila, that's it. Okay, so we'll now talk about the types of usability tests. This could just be different chunks, like qualitative and quantitative, and then remote versus in person. So let's talk about qualitative usability testing. All right. So qualitative usability testing focuses basically on collecting insights, collecting findings, and the anecdotes about how people use your product or your service. So qualitative basically helps to discover the problems, discover opportunities, discover challenges in the user experience. So if you want to collect findings, you want to collect insights, you want to get real data, it's definitely the qualitative usability testing. So the UT here stands for usability testing. I just broke it down. Okay, so that's for qualitative. And then we have quantitative. It basically focuses on collecting metrics. So just like its word, quantitative, 10% of people did this, 100% of people did it. But for qualitative, we can say that we just discovered that, okay, most people were saying that the create an account flow was too long. Most people were saying the create an account flow was too long. Most people were saying it was easy to do, when you get the qualitative data, well, I can just say that they are intertwined. Yeah, because we all need qualitative data, right? Like I want to be sure that this information is of good quality. At the same time, you cannot just get one quality information from one person, right? So for it to become like a good feedback that you can take back, maybe like 10% or maybe five participants have given you this kind of feedback, right? So you can now know that, okay, this is what it is. And being that I call you all global designers, right? You may want to maybe present this feedback to the product owners or stakeholders or people who matter in the design team or in the product team. So apart from you just saying, giving them quality, they may want to know that, okay, let's say 90% of people or the 90% of people who are signing up on this platform are females. So we need to make sure that the platform is as, what a lady would like, right? We can say it could be that maybe 50% or 60%. So, there are situations where you may need to, include quality and quantity as well. Like say, okay, 50% or 60%. So in that kind of situation, you're casting your net in a very far wide range so that you're getting more feedback, you're getting quality information as well as quantitative information. Okay, so let's talk about remote usability testing. So we've already mentioned qualitative and quantitative. So either of those could happen in a remote way or in person. Okay, so remote usability, just like we know, remote workers, they are quite popular because it requires less time and money than in-person studies. So if it's in person, you may want the person could ask you for transport. It's not like remote, they would ask you for data shower. Okay, so it's dependent, right? But it saves time and it also saves money. Basically, the person may not be with you at the same location. So under remote usability testing, we have the moderated and the unmoderated. So let's talk about remote moderated usability testing. So it's remote and then it's moderated. It's a little bit similar to in-person studies because the facilitator, you're interacting with the participants. You're asking them to perform a particular task. However, they may not be in the same physical location. So it could be over Google Meet, it could be over Zoom, it could be via Skype, right? So in that kind of situation, you're either asking your users to share their screen, or maybe you're the one sharing your screen, and then you guys are going through the design or the product together. So that's for remote moderated usability testing. And then we have the remote unmoderated. So in this situation here, what happens is that I may not necessarily need to be in the same location. I may not necessarily have to be there in front of, maybe it could be over Skype or over Google Meet. I just upload my design in a particular platform. And then the platform, what happens is that I don't necessarily need to be there to ask the questions. I probably would have maybe typed the questions I want to ask, right? And then the testing tool would conduct the test for me. The world is getting more advanced as the day goes by, right? And then whatever results that will be gotten will be sent to my email. So platforms like Maze, platforms like User Zoom, platforms like Lookback, they do most of the unmoderated remote usability testing. But well, I like remote and moderated. Okay, so I'm able to see you and see the way you're doing things. If it took you a minute, or well, the best is like in person, because you're observing your users' behavior, you're observing their eye glitch, you're observing their facial expression, you're observing everything, because everything counts when it comes to usability testing. Okay, so it's just depending on situations. That's when okay, you want to use remote moderated or remote unmoderated. Okay, so these are just like tools for, I don't know whose mic is unmuted, so I feel like, okay, so these are just like tools. You have access to them on, yeah, it's all on the slide. Okay, so for qualitative, we have the discount, look back, user brain, user bulb, user insights. Then for both qualitative and quantitative, you can use either of these ones that are in the midst here, like in the middle, the sounding box, user zoom. plenty. I just wrote them here. Okay, so you can check them out later. So I just want to include that based on number of participants, because there is this question like how many people, what's the least amount of people I should bring together to get feedback from. Some would say it's 10, some would say it's 5, some would say it's 100. Well, if it's quantitative data you need, definitely you won't just use 5 participants, right? But like basically like industry best practices, we recommend using 5 to uncover the majority of most of the common problems in the product. It's not 4, it's not 3, but if you like interview like 5 people, you will get enough data. And you're not just interviewing 5 people like that, you're interviewing 5 people, you're asking in-depth questions. So we'll talk about questions soon. Okay, but like recommended is 5 participants. Okay, so let's look at some testing scripts and sample questions that you should ask your users. Okay, I hope I'm not too fast. I'll just proceed then if I'm not too fast. But just wait for like 0 seconds. Okay, so let's look at usability testing scripts and sample questions. So this is like a broad topic on its own, which I have already broken down into bits and pieces. So, if you want to get feedback from someone, the kind of questions you ask the person will determine the kind of answers you will get, right? So we all know that user research is a vital source of input to the design process. So at a very basic level, asking the right questions, emphasis on the right questions would encourage your users to share their points of view without your influence of maybe if it's okay. So this reminds me of a time I was conducting a user usability test, and then I didn't want to be biased, but I had to tell my participant that please don't look at my face. Like, just tell me the way it is. If this design is not fine, just say it is not fine, right? So the kind of questions you ask, your composure, if it's in person, or even if it's not in person, if it's remote and maybe over Zoom or over Skype, like your camera should be turned on, I guess, right? So your composure, the kind of questions you ask should be without any form of your personal influence or bias. Remember that your job is to uncover truth and honesty, the truth of this product. So they should not care about your feelings at that point in time. Nobody should. It's not, we're talking about solving problems and creating solutions for people, right? So your job is to uncover truth and honesty, to gather user feedback that is not followed by your own hopes, your expectations, what you want to hear. So just like when we're giving you all feedback, like during the previous classes, and then some people will just go very quiet. No, you should not have expectations or hopes that they'll say, oh, this is so fine, even if it's like so fine, but you're asking the right kind of questions and you need the right kind of feedback. Okay, so your task basically is to maximize the effectiveness of your usability session. And to do this, you need to ask the right research questions. So the first tip I have here is you need to understand your user intent, right? So the reason for using a particular feature will definitely differ from user to user. There are some people who, okay, just like we have normal WhatsApp and then we have WhatsApp for business. So at some point, they discovered that some people were probably, posting their services on WhatsApp. And then, the WhatsApp team could have been like, okay, what if we create another product similar to WhatsApp, but specifically for business owners, right? So they can have like a store, they can have a section where they write all their labels, they can, upload amazing products they are selling, right? So you just need to understand your user intent. What is the reason for them using this particular feature? So let's take, for example, Instagram. I guess most of us are on Instagram, right? And we know the Explore tab. Please, someone should say they know Explore tab. You will not tell me you don't know Explore tab. Okay. So we have the Explore tab, and this Explore tab could be used to find friends. It could be used to connect with people of similar interests or for inspiration, right? So as a usability tester, you need to discover your user intent. So imagine if maybe when they design the Explore tab and the content that should be on the Explore tab, what if they put maybe Explore, and then instead of me seeing inspiration, maybe what we are seeing there is friends, they're suggesting friends to you, but when you tap on Explore tab, what you're seeing there is inspiration, similar interests, people that have maybe people you may want to connect to, right? But if Instagram wants to suggest friends, they're not using that explore tab as the very major role or the feature or the task that could be done on that particular product, right? So as a usability tester, you need to discover your user intent. You need to discover the unmet needs. You need to also discover potential opportunities for future product development. So if most people are using a feature, for example, their reasons and their goals would definitely differ. So you need to understand your user intent. And then there are some common questions here that you could ask in a scenario such as that. So to get better insight, right? So one question could be, why are you using this feature? So when you ask your users questions such as those, or why using this feature, they will tell you, okay, I'm using it because I want to maybe send money to my family members, or maybe I want to do XYZ, or I want to do ABC, right? So when you get all those feedback, you're able to know, okay, this is what most people are using this feature for, right? Another question you could ask is, what problems are you trying to solve? It will really be lovely if you all are taking note of these kind of questions, because when you're doing your usability test in the future, like these are the kind of intuitive questions you should ask to get proper feedback. Okay, so when you ask your users questions such as, what problems are you trying to solve? They will tell you, okay, this is the problem I have, and this is what I expect this feature to do for me. So when you're able to get that kind of feedback, this is what they're expecting this feature to do for them. Okay, you've gotten that feedback. You now know that, okay, you've been able to understand your user's intent. Another question could be, does this feature, for example, help you to solve your problem, right? And then when you ask all these kind of questions, okay, does this feature help solve your problem? Some would say, yes, it does. Maybe there should be like a follow-up question. Okay, if it does, how does it help you solve your problem? And then they give you the answers. Another question could be, okay, what tools were you using before to solve this issue? So if you're doing something like a competitive analysis, right? And then maybe you're designing a product that's similar to Piggyvest and Carrywise. Maybe when you ask questions such as this, someone will tell you, okay, I have used a particular feature in Piggyvest that helps me do this. I have used a particular feature in Carrywise that helped me do this. So when you get all this feedback, you're able to understand your user intent. All right, so the next one is, you need to uncover your users' mental models. Okay, so to really know your users, you need to understand the mental models they have when using your product or similar products such as yours, right? And this is especially important if you're building a new product or a feature that your users are not really familiar with, or if you're redesigning a product. So, some of us may want to just sit down one day and redesign Instagram, right? So you need to uncover your users' mental models. What are they expecting to see? How do they think? How do they perceive this feature? What are their comparison between feature A and feature B, or product A and product B? So there are like sample questions here you can ask to uncover your users' mental models. Such as, what do you think is the difference between this feature and this other feature? Some definitely, like, they will tell you, okay, I feel this is happening here. I feel this is not happening here. I feel this could be here. I feel this could not be here. You can ask questions such as, what do you think this feature is used for? It's just similar to, I think one time I was conducting a usability testing, and then I think, we all know this is not like dustbin, but that dustbin icon that means delete, right? And then placing it there, maybe what you want your users to do is to see if they can delete all their maybe delete everything they have saved, right? When we have that, I know we all know that icon. And then it just came to our notice that it seemed like most people were actually looking for delete, like they were looking for the text delete. So that icon standing alone, it was hard for them to understand what that icon was doing, right? But maybe very tech savvy people could, being that some of us have used so many products, we are used to, okay, once you just see that little dustbin, it means that, okay, you should delete, right? So when you ask your users questions such as, what do you think this feature is used for? Some will tell you, I felt it was just I felt maybe it was just maybe just a container, I did not really know it was the delete button. If I tap on delete, this is what it was supposed to make me do. So when you get that kind of feedback, for example, you can now know that, okay, this set of users, this is how I have been able to uncover their mental model. So they are having some form of difficulties understanding that this is what this icon meant. So in situations such as, what do? Is either you probably change that to maybe a call to action button that says delete, or maybe you have delete and then that icon is still there. Because there are some people who, you know, pictures speak 1,000 words. So once they just see that delete button, right, they're able to know that, okay, this is what it means. It's for deleting. So you can ask questions such as, how would you use this feature? Some would explain how they'll use the feature, how they will not use it. Questions such as those, you're trying to uncover their mental models, how they think, right? Questions such as, are there any product that you prefer to use to do X or Y or Z? That's like you trying to compare to know, okay, these are the kind of products or features already in existence that my users can use to do a particular task. And then another funny question is when you say, how would you explain what this product does? And when you ask such a question, you would see that they could now tell you what is not even in your mind. And in your own mind, this is what this product is supposed to do. This is the problem this product is supposed to solve. And then I'm asking users questions and they're telling me that this is what the product is doing. So at that point in time, you're able to know that, okay, this is their mental model and this is how they are thinking. Okay, so maybe I need to redesign this product. Okay, or maybe I need to redesign this platform in order to ensure that, okay, they understand that this is what this product is supposed to do. Okay, so the third one is accessing a feature's success. Okay, so after you release a new feature, for example, right, or a new design or something, it's very important and critical for you to evaluate its success and the user's experiences. So when you do usability sessions such as this, it will allow you to reveal the reasons for any underlying issues that your users might be facing. So it basically would enable you to gather data that could help you to improve or iterate on your current feature. So there are sample questions for assessing a feature success. Okay, so you can ask questions such as, what do you think about our new feature? And they will tell you what they think. So you're not saying, do you think our feature is fine? No, when you ask me, do you think my feature is fine? You were expecting either a yes or a no. And those are not the kind of feedback you need. That's like a leading question. We'll talk about leading questions shortly. Okay, so you ask questions such as, what do you think about our new feature? What do you think about this design? They will tell you what they think, or what do you think about, they will give you all the boboti, for lack of a better word, right? So all the feedback they need, everything, they'll just tell you, okay, this is what I think about this new design. I feel it could be this. I feel it may not be this. I feel this is what I was expecting to see, right? You ask questions such as, did you experience any issues the last time you used it? So this is like assuming you're trying to assess a particular feature, like the success of this feature. People can tell you, okay, the last time I forgot my password and I was trying to go through that flow. I discovered that it took me a very long time before they sent an OTP. It took me a very long time before they sent an email. Okay, even when they sent an email, I could not see any screen for me to type in my OTP and all that. So when you get all those kind of feedback, so this is like assuming you're already working with product teams. So sometimes it could be based on the engineering part, the development part, right? So you've conducted the test and you've gotten the feedback, and then okay, we can now see that, okay, there's this challenge. So could it be from the design part? Could it be from the development part? Could it be from the engineering team? You get all those feedback, and then okay, this feature is successful or not. Okay, when you ask questions such as, what could have been done better? So when you ask me that kind of question, you're giving me you're giving me this free mind to just express myself. So let me use participants. So when you ask your participants questions such as, what do you think would have been done better? That's a very awesome question, because I'll tell you, okay, I feel you would have done this. I feel you would have done this. And trust me, when you interview like at least 5 people, there will surely be similarities in their feedback, somehow, you know. So another question could be, how often would you use this new feature? So when you ask this kind of question, how often would you use our app, or how often would you use I think there was a time I asked users this question: would you recommend this app to another person? And then some would say, yes, some would say no, some would say, and when you ask a question, you should have like follow-up questions, because you don't just want to hear yes and no. Right. So how often would you use this feature? Some will say, okay, well, whenever I want to send money or whenever I want to do this. So you know that okay, this feature is even solving a problem. Because if you ask questions such as how often would you use this new feature, and they tell you, I'm not sure if I want to use this feature. Okay, you just know that this feature is not really solving a problem. But when they give you responses such as, okay, I always want to save money, or I always want to send money, so I would always use this feature, you've gotten the answers you need. All right. So we just need to take note that when asking questions about a particular feature or a part of a product or a part of your design, or as the case may be, it's very important for you to ask leading questions. So leading questions are questions that you're leading your users to give you either yes or you're leading them to give you an answer, right? So for example, instead of asking, what do you like about this feature? You're already assuming that your users like the feature. So what if I don't even like the feature? I won't even know if I should smile or if I should just look at you and just keep quiet. So it's better to ask questions such as, what do you think about our new feature? So when you say, what do you think, they're able to, tell you, this is what I think, this is not what I think. Okay. Or questions like, how was your experience? When you ask those kind of questions, you're not leading your users towards the answers. You're able to get more feedback from them. Okay. Just for feedback, I hope I'm not too fast. 608. I want to see someone, like, please just type. I hope I'm not too fast. If everybody is quiet, that means I've been talking to myself since. So I'll just take my. I am in a way. Okay. So I'm getting this feedback from just one person that I am fast in a way. Okay, I'm getting from two people. If I can get like five people, I would know if I'm not too fast, if I'm too fast. So I'm already doing usability testing and KodeCamp. Okay, I am in a way. I'm not too fast. I did with you. You see, this kind of user, what did I do with you now? Because I don't understand. I did with you. Did I ask a leading question? Okay, you are not too fast. Okay. The pace is doing as if it wants to start running, but it's not running yet. A little too fast. Okay, so let's count a little, a bit. Okay, awesome. Yeah, also as the slides will definitely be shared. Okay, so let me take it. Um, I don't understand what Ethan said. The pace is going as if I don't understand. Okay, so but at least we are following though. Let's be sure that we are following. Let me just be sure that we're all following. That I'm not just talking plenty. Like I want to get like feedback from five people too. Let me conduct my own usability testing on my speed. I hope you are following. Just say yes or no, or you know, okay, yeah, I'm following. Okay, awesome. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, so let's talk about guidelines for crafting research questions, like the kind of questions you would ask your users. Okay, so avoid questions that lead your users, just like I had said before. So, example, don't frame your questions like, why do you enjoy using our products? Because you're as you just similar to what I said in the previous slide, but these are just like guidelines, like specific guidelines. So when you ask me why do you enjoy using this product, you're already assuming that I enjoy the product. What if I don't even enjoy using the product? So you can ask questions like, how was your experience using our product? Or why do you even use our product? When you say, why do you even use our product? Someone will tell you, okay, I use your product because I always want to save my money in dollars, or I always want to save my money in pounds, or, I believe that Naira is, depreciating or something. So I love the platform and I like the fact that I can save my money in dollars here. Okay, so you now know that okay, your product is even solving a problem. Your design, or this feature, this idea is solving a problem. Okay. So another one is you can reference specific moments. So your users are able to recall their past experiences when thinking about the specific moment, and this would help you to get answers that are less generic and more accurate. Okay. So you can frame your questions in a way that prompts them to think about the past. So if I'm conducting a usability test on like an already existing product, and I want to get feedback about a particular feature, a particular feature that has lots of designs, right? So I could ask questions like, what do you think about our bookmark feature? Or what do you think about our okay, so I think on CarryWise is what they call stash also. So what do you think about our stash feature? Or maybe what do you think about it? But designs have different features, different things that are happening there. So when you ask those kind of questions, you will be able to get proper feedback. But when you're trying to reference a specific moment, you can ask questions such as, so the last time you used our bookmark feature, how was your experience? So now imagine me telling you the last time you traveled to Lagos, how was your experience? It's different from what do you think about Lagos. So if I tell you what you think about Lagos, you could say, well, Lagos is a nice place to be, plenty trouble, XYZ, you need to jump buses. But when you now say, okay, the last time you visited Lagos, how was your experience? The person will start narrating from the airport to landing and everything that happened, how they said XYZ, So when you reference a specific moment, it helps you to get a less generic answer, right? That makes more sense and is more accurate. Okay, so another guideline is you need to anticipate different responses because what if your users, the questions you had already written in your script is not what your users maybe like the questions you had already prepared, the answers you're getting is already diverting away, right? So now you know that the main reason for doing like this whole usability test, UX interviews, and all that is because you don't know what your users are thinking and you're anticipating answers from them. So it's very important for you to prepare follow-up questions. Do not skip their responses, like prepare for follow-up questions. I learned this the harder way. I think when I started doing usability, like the whole user testing stuff, and then the kind of users, we're expecting users who are already using the application. And then at some point, so during the test or during the session, and then you're asking them, do you have the application on your phone? They are saying no. Okay. Wow. So at that point in time, you know that you cannot just afford to just leave them. There should be some follow-up questions you can ask that will still help you in your research, like in all the feedback that you need. So you just need to prepare for unforeseen situations and make sure that you have enough questions to get as much information as possible in order to meet the objective of your interview. Okay. So another one is that you need to avoid close-ended questions. Remember, I said something about leading questions that you say, why do you like? Okay. So closely related to the above point, which is like the close-ended questions, are questions that will just lead in either yes or no is a close-ended question. And you don't need yes or no, you're looking for proper feedback that can help your design to be better. So you need to try as much as possible to avoid close-ended questions because they don't give you valuable insight. They just contain just very short replies like yes or no. So it's even better to ask open-ended questions in order to gather more complete answers and avoid unproductive UX interviews or usability tests. Okay, so for example, don't frame your question like, do you like our new feature? If you ask me, do you like me? If I ask you now, Leo, do you like me? Leo will tell me either yes or no, except if he feels like, saying extra things. Maybe I like this or I don't like this. But when you say, what do you think about me? So I'm now trying to personalize, what do you think about me? Then the person will start telling, okay, I think you are a bit too fast when you're talking in class. But if I just say, do you like me? I just want to get your overview about me. Okay, so it's very important to avoid close-ended questions. Let your questions be open-ended. Okay, so that's about it. And thank you all Do we have questions, comments, feedback? Those that said I was too fast. Okay, Cherry, please, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My question.
Good evening, Cherry.
Okay, my question in a way has to do with this, but then mainly to do with designing itself. So is there a way we can design a responsive keyboard? Because when I was designing that recipe app, the few people I to test, I was like, don't bother trying to input your details. Just click and click. And for me, talking about not wasting time and not having to explain things, it does not tell you what I did there because I had to be saying, don't bother trying to impute. And that made them confused for a while. Like, I'm trying out an app and I'm not putting in my own name. I'm not putting in what I actually want to search for. I don't know if you understand. So is there a way we can design a responsive keyboard?
Okay. Oh, wow. So you cannot design, when you say responsive keyboard, like you want your users to actually put in their details, right? Well, that will be when the app is already launched. So what happens is, okay, so this is how we can say when you want to send your designs for feedback, right? You're letting your users know that, okay, this is just like a testing app, right? It has not yet been launched. So it reminds me of when I shared my designs with like users during one of the testing sessions. And then, they're already thinking that they will start putting in their details. So it's just for you to inform them that this app has not yet been developed, it has not yet been launched. So when you want to put, and when you say like put in a responsive keyboard, it's not even developed now, because it's only when it has been developed that's when everything will now work functionally.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but you just need to like properly inform them, because like what I did is I'm telling you, okay, this app has not yet been built. We are just trying to test the app to see your experience. So assume that your details have already been put in this app, then give me your feedback. I don't know if that answers your
Yes,
question.
it does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you too. Okay, Udeme, you can ask your question. I see your hand raised.
Yes, it's raised. All right, thank you. Good evening, please.
Good
Okay,
evening.
so about this research, user research, where I get confused at times is, are we conducting this research to know what we should include, or the features that we should include in the products or in the app that we are to build, or we are carrying out a research about an existing product to know what the users enjoy using or what they don't like that should be removed? Because sometimes the proposed questions sounds like the application is already in the market, like the app is already going live and people are using it. Then you get feedback from the users to know if they are actually enjoying it, or if they don't enjoy, what should we take out, or what should be added. And so I get confused. Are there specific questions that should be asked when a product is not yet live, or like an anticipated product? And then, or are there specific questions to be asked when a product is already live and you are just trying to get feedback to know if everything is going well with the users, please?
Okay. Okay, thank you for your question, Udeme. So I would answer it this way. When you want to, you know, conduct a usability test or maybe a user research, to get feedback, the very first thing you're looking at for is, what is my goal? Like, what is my goal in this um, research I'm going out for, right? So these questions I had shared here are just like ideas. So it's not like they must be adhered to. So it's just like when I wanted to when I wanted to conduct like a usability test for a particular product I was working on. So the kind of questions I would ask, you're the one that will coin the questions yourself because you know the questions, you know the kind of feedback you need, right? So, well, Google is there that could, help with sample questions, right? But you just know that you know the goal of this research. So when I know the goal, maybe my goal is, maybe, as product owners or maybe me and my friends, we just want to design a new idea in the market. So maybe our goal is to get feedback from the public to know if this product is even viable, if it's even going to fly. So when I know the goal of this research, this is my goal. So it's now informs the kind of questions you come up with, right? So the questions you would ask are directly proportional, not inversely, directly proportional to the goal of that research project. So if it is that you want to maybe create people who create an account on the platform, and then maybe you and your, I don't know if I should add to. Okay, so let's say it's already an existing product. Okay, let me know is that word. Let me say it's a new product, right? So we want to launch a new product, and this product we want to launch. Definitely there could be other existing products. So now my goal is to find out if this product I'm about to launch is even going to make sense, if it's going to solve problem, right? So it would, me knowing this is my goal, it's now informs the kind of questions I would ask during the user research session. So I feel that's like my answer. I hope that helps. So it's not like it must be, so everything just goes down to the goal. Like, what's the goal of that? What do you want to know? So when I know what I want to know, it will inform the kind of questions I would ask. I don't know if that now makes it better. So what do you want to know? So when I know what I want to know, it will influence the kind of questions I would ask to know what I want to know. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Okay.
I hope that answers your
Yeah.
question.
Yes. Thank you. So in
Okay.
this regard,
Okay.
is it advisable that one use an existing app, for example, a WhatsApp app that is already live, um, can then you are asked to build something similar to that? Is it advisable that one use WhatsApp app to features to frame out some questions to know exactly what is lacking in WhatsApp, then which should be added in the new products to to make it competitive in the market? Like, is it advisable that you use an existing product as an example to ask, like example, you ask a user, okay, how do you feel using WhatsApp? Like questions like that, like since it's existing already, then from the feedback, maybe you can get one or two things that you can use and add to your products that you want to build. So I just want to know if there is any law that if you use it, then they sue you to court.
Okay. So there's something we call comparative analysis in research or in design, right? So you want to compare existing products if what you want to design is something similar to what is already in existence, right? So it's not like you would say, well, you can actually ask questions, based on that particular product. Maybe how do you feel using WhatsApp? What do you think? What are the features you think could be included? So when you ask all those questions, you're trying to analyze an already existing product so you can make it better by building yours, right? So it's not like totally wrong because you're just doing what we call like comparative analysis. You're asking questions to compare, okay, this is what is really functioning well in WhatsApp. This is what most users like. These are the features users like. These are the features users don't like. Okay, so how can I make my own WhatsApp better? So at the end, you just want to get feedback. So that's the words.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Udeme. So any other question, comment, or feedback? I guess we don't. Okay, so thank you all for your listening time. Ikis, I don't know if you're on this call. Please hold on a bit. Okay, Shandu, I can see your hand raised up. You have a question, please, you can ask.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you very much for all you guys have been doing. Thank you to all the mentors from stage 0 to stage where we are now.
What
I
stage
really
is that?
appreciate. So, we're in 7 now.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, yeah. So I want to ask. I'm seeing that some people are getting internship offers. Why is this not thrown to us beginners, or do you have other plans for us after KodeCamp? Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm not in the best position to answer that. I don't know if Ikis is here. Let me try to reach out to
Yeah.
him.
Good
Who
evening.
else? Okay, yeah. Good evening.
So, okay, to answer that question, yeah, the plans we have for you is that in 3.0, there's going to be an intermediate level track for you, for UI UX. So when you join that, then the internship, you get to be part of the internship. So internship is just for those who are the intermediate level. It's part of their training phase, okay? 2 months training, 2 months internship, okay? So if you want to be part of that, then you actually have to be in the intermediate track, but that's going to be in 3.0, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, are there any other questions, please?
I doubt if there are any other questions.
You just unmuted yourself without raising your hand, so it better be a good one.
Very sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, can I go on?
Go on.
Okay, yeah, yesterday when we had a class with David, I asked a question about the spacing between elements. So I said, if I want to space between 2 elements, then I click on the shift bar, then the Alt to check the spacing between it. When I use my arrow key, it changes by 10. Maybe I want to increase or decrease. It changes by 10. And he told me to check somewhere for the he told me to check the sidebar, and I did not understand how he was saying it. I told him I did not get it. He said I should check the sidebar. I'm going to see something about node bar or something like that I can change the spacing to 8, which is most of the time the best practices. But I don't know how I can work around that. That is like the problem I'm facing right now.
Okay. So I'm trying to, I was listening to your question, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So your challenge is how to check for the space between 2 elements? Is that like a question?
No, I know how to check for the space between the 2 elements. Okay, let's say I have space between 2 elements. While I click on the first element and click on the shift button, then drag over the other element and click on the Alt button, I have a space of like 20. Is it? maybe to like 28. I'm not able to do that. Once I press like my arrow buttons, it increase automatically to 35. And if I want to decrease, it decrease to like 15, like a value of 10. It does not increase like with 1, which I thought was the normal one. So I don't know, maybe it is my system that is the problem. I tried on another frame, like what I've not done, it was still the same thing.
Okay, even though I'm having a bit of difficulty understanding, but I can see Shagun Steven saying that you should go to properties, nudge and set the number to 8. So I'm not on Figma now. So but maybe you should just follow what Shagun is saying. I hope what Shagun is saying is actually the correct answer. Okay. So well, I'm not sure that's like a very, very serious challenge for you. But if it's really, really too complex, you can reach out to David. Like since he talked about that, I feel he may have a better answer. Okay, yeah, thank you. So I saw Shandu's hands up. Um, I'm not sure he or she wanted to ask a question, but if we do not have
Yes,
any other
yes,
questions,
please.
oh okay,
Okay, so I want to ask, if I start my design without choosing any particular frame from the
okay.
set of frames, and then say I've gone all the way to do all my designs, is it possible, like, if I want to do the prototype, to just pick any frame? Will it? Is there a way to come out?
No, it will not
Like, can I?
because okay. So sorry, let me just say your question to
Okay,
you,
go
so I'm
on.
sure that I understand. Okay, so you're saying that you want to design something on Figma, then rather than selecting a frame and putting it inside a frame, you just designed it on the empty canvas, yeah?
Yes, like you just picture it, just get something similar to a normal frame, like a normal mobile frame, and then you just start working on it without actually picking a particular frame size, or like iPhone 11 Pro Max or any of those.
Okay, so maybe you just choose the rectangle and just drew it the way it's in your mind, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, I see you. Okay. So you just maybe choose a rectangle, and in your mind, this is going to be the shape of a mobile app, right? And then your question is if you want to
Yes,
prototype it, if it's going to work. Abby?
yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So in that kind of situation, the way Figma works is that your design should be inside a frame, because when you want to prototype, you'll be asked to choose what kind of frame you want this design to be displayed on, right? So it just has to be inside a frame. That's why there are so many options of the different, you know, phone sizes. So it just has to be inside a frame. If you want a prototype, it's not like if you tap on the prototype, the play button. If you just designed normally, like using the rectangle, it will not show. But if you want a prototype and everything should be inside a mobile screen, you just have to use a frame. So these are just like best practices so that whatever you're prototyping would come out well inside the mobile frame. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. So there's no way I can apply. Okay, if I've designed
Okay.
all my screens like that without picking a frame, there's no how I can apply frames to the design, not the prototype now. Like, I want to just go back and, okay, maybe
Okay,
select
you want to start all
a
over
frame and
again.
apply it. Yeah, without
Okay.
having to start all my designs all over again.
Okay, so you actually can, Figma is forgiving, just like we said about error tolerance. So you can just create a normal frame and then maybe just copy everything you have done and place it inside the frame. It will reflect automatically. So even if you had designed it on the normal rectangle, like away from the frame canvas, right? And then you want it to be inside the frame now. You've made up your mind now to put it inside the frame. You just copy it and paste, or maybe just drag it into that frame. It automatically goes in. So you can do your prototyping easily.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That answers it.
Thank you too. Okay. Cherry and okay, Cherry, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you once again. I just want to make use of this opportunity.
Sorry, come again,
Um,
please.
I said thank you once again. I just really want to make use of this responsibility to ask all my questions.
Okay.
So, um, when we're designing a responsive screen or frame, let's say we've designed the website on, and we're like
Okay.
reducing it down to a normal phone, like an app size this time around. I don't know if you
Why would you
understand
be
what.
reducing it? Is there a reason?
Like, no, it's supposed to be responsive, Abby. So like let's just say I want to test it to see if when they use it on a phone, it's going to like come out the way I want it to lay out.
Okay.
Yes. Where I have issue now is the nav bar for the desktop, for the website viewer, the desktop frame is supposed to become a hamburger icon, or rather
Okay.
that's what it's supposed to look like on the phone frame.
Mobile. Okay.
Yes, on the mobile, thank you. But I don't know how I will now place that one. I can do the rest, like the positioning and the auto layout for every other thing, but I don't know how I'll bring in that hamburger icon.
Okay. Have you tried checking YouTube videos? Because I'm just using my head now to imagine. But there are different ways to go about this. So there are some people when they want to design responsive designs like for mobile and for web, right?
Yeah.
So they design the mobile screens. So this is what I do sometimes. I design okay, I could start from the web, design all the screens for web, and then alongside beside it, I'm already designing the mobile. So you can see how it will look like. Even though using the auto layout, I think I saw that on YouTube, is still also a great idea. But this is like I always say, there's so many ways to kill a rat, right? So, but I don't know if you were in this class when we did one design that had to do with who can remind me? Was it the travel body? It should be
Travel,
travel
yes,
body.
travel,
Yeah. So
yes,
you remember what I did? I had created the first screen, and then the next one
yes.
had the hamburger, and then the previous one had the cancel, like the X. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that still works as well. So I feel that's like my answer. But I know YouTube has a lot of videos that could answer this question you have now. Is to just search using the right keywords. So maybe you can ask YouTube a question such as, one of the challenges in this whole thing is asking Google the right question, like the keywords
Yeah.
to use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe let's think of something. What if you ask, okay, designing responsive. So now
Screens.
the keywords, yeah, we have design responsive,
Auto
using auto
layout.
layout on Figma. Yeah, you would see lots of videos, and I feel that should help.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ethan, you can ask a question.
Hello, good evening. I
Good
wanted to
evening.
ask, is there a way you can like prototype just an icon instead of prototyping the whole screen?
Is there a way you can prototype what?
Like, let's say there's a particular, let's say like a box now on a screen that when you tap it, it just has to tick, and that is the only difference between that tick is the only difference between the first screen and the second screen. Then you can just like prototype that icon alone instead of having to like do another screen for the ticked duplicate. I don't know if you get me.
Okay, yeah, that's very possible. You can prototype elements individually. Like you just select the element and you go to the prototype panel. Like you will just see that it just becomes active. You just see that plus node. So it's very possible to prototype just elements in a frame without prototyping or selecting the whole frame. Like it's very possible. So that's how we like select let's say CTA button, and then we prototype it to the next screen. So it's possible to select just an element and prototype it. Yeah.
Okay,
If
thank you.
that answered your question, because I'm answering best to my understanding. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ethan.
That's
Kenny, please.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you too. Kenny, please, you can ask a question before we leave.
Okay. Thank you so much. My question is, when we're prototyping and we get to like an error page, for example, the page that shows that the password is not imputed right.
Okay.
I don't know. I seem to be lost what to do next, because where do we actually, if it stops there? What I did was I put a screen that just goes to the error message, but I'm not sure what exactly to do there to connect back.
Okay. So I would just say one thing. So I think I feel like maybe you can read up more on designing for error states. So I'll just answer this question for the benefit of the class. So when you're designing error states, there should be an action you want your users to do when there is an error. So it's just like when we have, maybe there is no network. Let's say you open your Google and then there is no network. There usually is an action, like what's the next thing your users are supposed to do. So if there is no network, should there probably, you can decide to have a call to action button, or maybe a text that looks like a hyperlink that could say, okay, reload your page, or return to settings, or there should be an action like, what should I now do now that there is an error? So error states, when designing error pages, it's not just enough to write what the problem is and how you're trying to fix it. So when we say, Slack says things like, oops, this is not from you, the problem is not from you, it's from our end. However, these are like some recommended things: troubleshoot your Slack, reload your Slack, check your network connections. And that all of those, they are like hyperlinks there. So I don't know if that answers your question. So you should just include what you want your users to do next. Should they return back to home? Should they restart their system? So I hope that answers the question. Kenny.
Okay, yes, thank you. And I also got what to search for, because I didn't know what exactly to search for. Designing for error states.
Yeah,
Thank
designing
you.
for error states. Yeah, you can also check up designing user states. Like, it's really broad, because like there is the empty state. I'm not sure we've talked about it because we don't have time, but you all can just read up on designing for user states, because when you're
States.
prototyping, that's when you know that, yeah, states like user and state, user states. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you too.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess that's the end of our class today. Thank you all for your listening time. So see you all on Slack. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.